Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. We are back, or should I say, I am back for another episode of Lank. But Lank, unfortunately, cannot be with us here today. Lank on the Premier League. If you're new around here, we look forward to the next week, the next round of fixtures, should I say, of the football. This coming up this weekend. We've just had an international break, so we're getting back into the real football now. That dire shit that is the international break is behind us. Still don't understand why we have two of them at the very start of the season. It breaks up the calendar, and I don't mean that in a good way. They should just stick at the end, because it'd just be better in all senses. People could actually get behind the team. Not that England are gonna do anything, but hey ho. I've got a couple of opinions, but I want to keep this video short because it is myself, and it is getting recorded quite late in the day. So yeah. Basically me and Lank do predictions, go through each week, make predictions, and then we come back and we do points and see who's winning. I believe Lank is winning quite heavily at the moment. I think it's 6-1 last time I checked. I don't quite know, but I think it's 6-1 off the top of my head. I'm not quite sure what the situation is in terms of rollover. I'll have to go back and keep track. But yeah. There was 4 weeks in a row we drew, and Lank won the tiebreak. He's ahead, but yeah. Well, there's no fixtures from last week because it was the international break, like I said. So I'll just go straight into next week's fixtures, as Lank has kindly provided his fixtures predictions for this upcoming weekend, which is the 21st to. I don't think there's a game on Monday, but 21st of October. I'm not going to run through the championship as I normally do. Again, no games last week, and I think we covered it last time. I might drop in some rants at the very end just to get stuff off the chest. But yeah, without further ado, enough of me rambling. We'll go into the first fixture, the early kickoff. By the way, this is assuming all these fixtures go ahead, by the way, because as of time of recording, the Rotherham versus Ipswich game in the championship has been postponed due to the storm. Is it Storm Abet or Babette? Storm Babette has been wreaking havoc all across England and Scotland and the British Isles. So, assuming all these games, there's definitely going to be one of them's called off. Not quite sure what, but one of them will be called off. So maybe we should have predicted that. But anyway, the first early fixture is a Merseyside derby, which is quite interesting that this is the early fixture. There's Liverpool versus Everton, and straight out of the bat, Lank has gone for Liverpool, and I find it very hard to disagree with that. The way that Liverpool are playing at the moment, I wouldn't say they're back to how they were a few years ago, but definitely resurged as like one of the better teams in the league. I still think they've got flaws and they're not quite as good. I still think defensively they're a bit suspect. I'm still not convinced by the midfield defensively. Going forward, it looks fine. And I don't know, they're scoring a lot of goals, but I wouldn't say they're fluid up front, but they are playing quite well. Everton, on the other hand, well, they were in dire straits. The last few games they have picked up. They've scored quite a few goals, actually, as well, and gotten some very crucial points. So it'll be an interesting one. But given it's at Anfield, and Liverpool are just far and away the better team, I think it'd be daft not to go with Liverpool. So Lank's gone with Liverpool, and I'm also going to go with Liverpool. Yeah, like a 2-1, maybe a 3-1. Moving on to the second game, one of the 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. Bournemouth versus Wolves. And this is not the most interesting game, so I am going to lightly touch on this one. Wolves are not a bad team, they just don't really have much going for them. And Bournemouth, I think, personally are a bad team, and I don't think they've got... I think Wolves have really good players, but they just don't really seem to fit in terms of like going like they're just missing that like 1 or 2 players of like creativity and finishing. Whereas Bournemouth, I think, don't have any good players. Like they're not bad players, but they've got no like star quality, and like the quality of the squad is like a lot. It's quite apparent that it's quite a lot lower than some of the other teams, especially even like down the bottom of the table. Lank has gone for a Wolves win. I am inclined to go with that. However, I am going to go with a draw Bournemouth Wolves. The Lank's gone with a Wolves win. I'm not the biggest proponent of Bournemouth. I think I said that they'd finish bottom. But the fact that Wolves can't score to save their lives and the fact that Bournemouth are at home, it might. Yeah, this is one of the games I could see getting called off though, given that Bournemouth are a coastal town. Although down south it doesn't seem to be as bad, but we'll have to see. Moving into the next game, it is Brentford versus Burnley. Again, not the most exciting games out there. Lank's gone with the Brentford win, and I am going to agree with him on this one. Brentford are at home. I think they're a bit lackluster this season. I think they're playing a lot better than the results. Like they're not struggling or doing bad by any means, but I think they could have picked up a few more points here and there. They seem to have dropped a few. Obviously, with Ivan Toney missing, it's going to be a big loss, and it's difficult to replace somebody like that, but yeah. Burnley have been a bit of a wet fart, to be honest. Like, so many people had them quite high up and had high expectations, and they've just fell flat in every department. Like, they've been they've been the most disappointing team this season, and that's saying a lot because there's been a few of them. But I think Burnley generally have been the most disappointing team. So yeah, Lank's gone with the Brentford win, and I'm also going to go with the Brentford win. Moving into an interesting one here now. Manchester City at home to Brighton. This is a 3 o'clock game. Me personally, this shouldn't be a 3 o'clock game. Like, both of them teams are some of the best team. Like, I wouldn't say they play the most attractive or interesting football, but in terms of like quality and the way they're playing at the moment, this should be a televised fixture. Saying that, the reign of Manchester again might not go ahead. Man City, they're struggling. What? No, struggling is a strong word. They're not struggling, and it's not panic modes. But they're not as dominant and imperious as they were last season, and there are going to be some hiccups this season, and they ain't going to storm the league like that. They didn't storm it, but they're not going to. I think it's going to be a lot closer this year. Likewise, Brighton just seem a bit. I don't know. They're a weird team. They seem like on the day they could beat anybody, but they could also lose to anybody. Man City are at home, and it is Manchester City, but Brighton are a team that could do an upset. I don't think they will. Lank's gone for a City win, and I'm inclined to agree that City will get the job done. But I could see this one being a high-scoring fixture, but I think Man City's just they've got the star quality that Brighton just unfortunately don't have. Moving into the next game, it's Palace versus Newcastle, and on paper it's not a bad team, two historic clubs, but I just don't think this is going to be a very exciting game. I think Newcastle at home, defensively they've not been as good this year, but I just think they are still quite solid. Palace, on the other hand, I think they're a decent team, but they're just an also ran. But their problem is they don't score a lot of goals, and I can see them kind of cancelling each other out a little bit. But I don't know. Lank's gone for a Newcastle win. I don't know if I want to do that, though. I think this could be a draw. I'm going to go draw for the Newcastle Palace one, purely because I don't know. It's just a feeling I've got. Newcastle are very hit or miss. Obviously, the stuff with Sandro Tonali's come out. I'll just quickly touch on that. So essentially, he's being investigated for betting charges, and obviously that's conflict of interest and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty sure as of right now, he's not been charged with it, but he has admitted to doing it. He's looking like he's going to get a 9-month ban minimum. I can't remember it begins with an F. The youngster in Italy for Juventus has just been banned for 9 months and is nowhere near as egregious as Tonali. So he looks like he's going to get a ban. Another player, Nicola Zaniolo's also embroiled in it, but we'll get on to him when we talk on the Villa game. But yeah, he might be a big miss considering they're just signing for 70-80 million. I don't know. I just think just one of them games. I just think Palace might do something, and I'm going to go with the draw. Thanks, gone with the Newcastle win. The next one is an interesting one, especially from my perspective. Chelsea versus Arsenal at Stamford Bridge. Now, where do you come from this one? Historically, well, when you say historically, I mean in the last 15 years, Chelsea have had the edge on Arsenal, I'd say. But like the last 3-4 years, I'd say Arsenal definitely had Chelsea's number on a number of occasions. They've gotten wins where they probably shouldn't. And yeah, Arsenal they are in a better position at the moment than Chelsea in terms of where they are. They're further along down the line in their development. But I also don't rate Arsenal that highly. I think they're in the position they're in, and it's deserved. but I don't think they're that good of a team. I think it's very much predicated on the fact that the overall level of the league is a lot lower this season than it has been previously to 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, Langscombe was a Chelsea win, which is very surprising actually. Obviously Chelsea are on a bit of a resurgence at the moment. They finally won a game and then they won back-to-back games. The scoring as well. They seem to have settled with the back four. They were actually create the most chances out of anyone in terms of the games that they've played. They've out like XP'd their opponent. You know, stats are just made up nonsense. But fun fact, no, they've got one of the best defenses in the league. That's despite arguably 4 of their back four out injured at the moment. Starting back four, minimum 2 of them are injured. But they do have a lot of players injured, and a lot of them have come back from international duty with niggles and injuries. Cole Palmer's one, it's a doubt. Same as Caicedo, same as Enzo Fernandez. Mudryk's starting to hit a bit of form, but can he carry that on? The Chelsea notoriously do awful after an international break. I think this one's going to be, I don't know. I think it'll be a very close game. I think it'll be quite cagey, and I think whoever scores the first goal will most likely, I wouldn't say dominate, but they'll control the game. I'm gonna go with the draw. I think it'll be 2-2. I know Lank's gone with the Chelsea win, but I don't know. I don't think Chelsea have the firepower, be that for lack of form or quality. I'm not quite sure. Broya, I think, is a good player, but he's quite a rough. Same as Jackson. And then it's just, where do the other goals come from Chelsea? And then Arsenal, like I said, they're a good team, but they've got the whole situation with the keeper where I'm just like, just pick one. I think they're both really good keepers. I think defensively, Saliba's really good. I think Ben White does a job. I don't think he's amazing, but he does a job. The rest of the back four is nothing special. Midfield, I think that on paper they could have one of the strongest. I think Declan Rice, fantastic player. Odegaard is. Havertz kind of feels like a round peg in a square hole. Partey, I'm not a huge fan of. I think generally, like, my opinion on Saka is well known. I think he is by far the most overrated player in the Premier League. I just don't rate him that much. Not awful, just nothing to write home about. I'm just sorry, not. Martinelli's the same. There's just not really much end product. I mean, you got what, 15 goals? You know, that's pretty good return. But the way people are going on about him, like he's some world class player, he's not. He's really, really not. He's a serviceable player, but he's nothing. He ain't gonna He's not gonna be remembered in 10 years. He's gonna be another Willian. And then Gabriel Jesus is like, I'm sorry, he's a really skillful player and he's a really good player, but as a goal scorer, he's shockingly bad. He's not a goal scorer in terms of clinical. Like, there's a reason Man City were more than happy to let him go. But yeah, I think it'll be a draw. Arsenal, I don't know, 2-2 Arsenal Chelsea. Thanks, gone with a Chelsea win. Don't see it myself, but take it. Man United versus Sheffield at Sheffield. This is an interesting one. It's kind of a derby. Not really. It's what, Yorkshire versus Lancashire. Sheffield United is just shit. Man United is shit. I don't know. I don't know. Like, in all God's green earth, there's no way in hell that Sheffield United should have a chance in this game. But Man United, the form that they're in, and the absolute just turmoil with the Jadon Sancho and the Anthony situation and Maguire. Oh, international. Oh my God. I don't know. Lank's gone with a Man United win. You'd think they'd get the job done. They've got a few players. Rasmus playing well. Still don't rate Rashford. Fine. But people are in that. They're in that 6-month cycle where he's either shit or he's great, and I'm just like, no, he's just bang average, and he has been bang average the entire time. But yeah, Man United win. Lank's gone the same. There's not really much more to add on that one. Aston Villa, West Ham. That's an interesting one. They're two of the teams who are on the up and coming. Oh, that's another point. As of right now, Sir Jim Radcliffe has agreed a deal to purchase 25% of Manchester United. All the Man United fans claiming the Glazers are the worst owners are deluded. Are they good owners? Not really. Are they the worst owners? No. They don't pump money in, but Man United is self-sufficient in the fact that they generate so much funds that they don't have to. Have they misspent the funds? Sure, but you can't knock them for spending the money because they have spent the money. They've just spent it badly. But they're not the only team who have done that. The whole Tari signing them, I don't know. I know there's talks that West Ham are now going to be bought by them. I don't think the Glazers ever did want to sell. And I think Man United, if they employed the right people, the owners as it stands and the model as it stands wouldn't be an issue. It's more of an issue of how they're running the club rather than like it's not like they don't have money. They've got money, they're spending money, they're just spending it badly. And it's an easy fix in terms of you just got to spend it better. You got to invest it in the right place, which they're just not doing. They're giving out stupid contracts, bang average players, playing over the odds for them, going in like super late in the transfer window for players. They pay an arm and a leg for them, and they're just, yeah, it's just stupid. And they keep buying players who are super, like, they're in the twilight of their careers, and they're spending ridiculous amounts of money on them. But that's enough about that. So moving on to the club that the Qataris might be buying, Villa versus West Ham. Lank's gone for a Villa win. This is an interesting one. I am all aboard the Emery train. I think he's a fantastic manager. I don't think he got his dues at Arsenal. I think it was very unfortunate to get sacked there. Yeah, but West Ham are also on the up, and they were in a good position. David Moyes has steadied the ship. Got a few good players there. If this ownership takeover comes in, then I can see them taking off as like a Newcastle situation. But for this game, I'm going to go Villa win. I think Villa are just in a good place right now. Ollie Watkins playing. He's good for England. It's all good. And then the final game of the weekend is Spurs versus Fulham. London derby to close out the weekend. Spurs top of the league somehow, flying high. Not the most convincing, but you know, they've got the job done. Fulham they've been a bit disappointing, to be honest. Obviously, replacing Mitrovic's goals has been difficult. Jimenez, I think he's a good player, but he's just not the player he was. Lank's gone Spurs win. I'm inclined to agree with that, and I'm going to go with the Spurs win. I don't know. I don't think Spurs will win the league, not by a long shot. I still think they'll struggle to get top 4. I think it's possible. It's more than likely, but I don't think it's nailed on at this stage. I just think, yeah, Fulham are just not the team. This Spurs train's gonna come. It's gonna hit a hitch at some point, and they're gonna stall, and it's how they recover from that stall. But I don't think this is the one to do it. It could be because it's a London derby, but I just don't see it. I just don't think Fulham have the quality to get around it. Oh, there was Paulinho's a fantastic field, but yeah. That was been the rundown. Just to go through it. Lank's gone. Liverpool win, Wolves win, Brentford win, City win, Newcastle win, Forest win, Chelsea win, Man United win, Villa win, Spurs win. In fact, he's gone for all wins, not a single draw. Trying to remember what I put. I'm pretty sure I said Liverpool win, Bournemouth Wolves. I'm pretty sure I put a draw. Brentford Burnley, I put Brentford. Man City Brighton, I put Man City. Newcastle Palace, I think I put a draw. Chelsea Arsenal, I think I put a draw. Sheffield Man United, I put Man United. Villa West Ham, I put Villa. And Spurs Fulham, I put Spurs. I will double check. Based on that, I'm going to go on what I said originally, not what that quick rundown was, but I think that's what I put. Yeah. So that was the quick, speedy roundup for a change of the upcoming fixtures for this week. Just a couple of points on some happenings in the world of football. International duty. International break. Fucking boring is what it is. They need to stop putting it in the middle of the season. Stick it at the end, stick it at the start. I don't really care where you put it. Get it out of the middle of the calendar. It just disrupts it. Not even like once. Like once is bad enough. Twice in like 2 months is like it barely gets started. Like we're 10 games in and we've had 2 international breaks. It just kills it all. It's like a damn squid. And like I'm sorry, but like most football fans will always pick club over country, and it's just the way it's always going to be. And I'm the same. Like I'd like to see England successful, but I don't know. And I know people are really hyped about this England squad, saying it's the most talented generation. It's not. The 2006 team is much more talented than this. I think we've got a really talented squad. I think it is a little bit overhyped at the same time. I think Gareth Southgate. Do you know what? I think he's not the manager to take you to the winning, but I think it's a bit overblown at how bad he is in terms of has he achieved anything as a manager? Really, you could say he took us to a final and a semi-final, but you know, you don't get any finishing last and finishing second, you get the same result. As a manager at club level, he got Middlesbrough relegated. Like, he's not really, he's not got the best track record. I think he might have won something with the under-21s, but yeah, I don't know, but I do think that England squad is a bit overrated. I think keepers were sorted. We've got two decent keepers in Pope and Ramsdale. No, there's other people, but I just don't rate them. Defensively is a bit shot. I think we've got some good players, but I wouldn't say it's like stand out. Fullback, I think right back we've got Owen Abundance. I think left back we've got a bit of shortage. I think there is players who can do a job there, but they're not fit or they're not in form or whatever. I think midfield, we've got some decent players in midfield, but I still think it's a bit overrated. And obviously, I'm not a huge opponent of Kane in terms of world class, but I think he's a really good striker. Obviously, is he a winner? Do we have many winners in that England team? That's where I think we fall short. Not maybe on the quality, more on the winning attitude. This whole idea of Jude Bellingham being the next Ballon d'Or winner is absolutely laughable. He's scoring goals. I know you have to be in the position, but they are just happens. He's a good player. He's not the next Messi, as some people have even suggested, which is ridiculous. He's just a decent player. He's above average, I'd say. I wouldn't say I don't know, I just don't think he's that good. There's a few England players you can say that about, though. Trent, I just don't see rate him. Saka, I don't rate him. Bellingham, Rashford, Grealish. Who else is there? And then the other thing I wanted to touch on real quickly was the whole fucking you're not a real fan if you boo. So this is Jordan. Harry Maguire got booed a few weeks ago, and Gareth Southgate came out and defended him and said you're not a real fan. And then Jordan Henderson got booed because why is he even in the squad? Never mind playing. He's fucked off to Saudi Arabia and he's thrown his morals in for the bag. Which, fair enough. If you want the money and you're offered it, take it. Don't you dare talk about LGBTQ rights and all this fucking virtual signaling, because it just, you know what, it does more harm than it does good when you do stuff like that. And then to be booed, he was booed essentially because he shouldn't have been in the team, and he was. And Gareth Southgate put him out there, and then he came out and defended him and said that if you're booing him, you're not a real England supporter. Who the fuck are you to tell whoever watches that you're not a real fan? At the end of the day, then people have paid the money. They're entitled to boo somebody if they feel it necessary. You might not agree with it, but you don't have the right to tell them that they're not a real fan or they can't do it. They paid the money for it, and if they have an opinion, they're allowed to voice it. Whether you agree with that opinion, that's subjective. But objectively, they are allowed to boo them. And this whole Harry Maguire coming out and defending them. Why are you getting your head out there? Like, why would you even put yourself in that situation to get even more criticism? You're not playing well. You're not good enough for Man United. You should have left. You didn't. Whether that was for the money or just arrogance, or I wouldn't even say pride. It would definitely be arrogance. You stayed for whatever reason. And now you're getting in the England team still when you shouldn't be anywhere near it. Why are you then coming out and defending this whole defending each other? No, can he not speak from himself? This whole narrative is an absolute joke. That was my thoughts on the England squad. Nobody asked for them, but got them anyway. Just to round it out, a little nice thing of Eden Hazard has unfortunately, he's called an end to his playing career. He's retired as a footballer at the age of 32, I believe it is, which is ridiculously young, but at the same time, he has played a lot of games since he was a kid. Like, you're talking 16, he was 17, he was up and coming, and then 17, 18, he became the best player in the French league. He was leading Lille to the title. He was the next big thing. Then he went to Chelsea. 6-7 years of just pure class. He was the best player in the league. Since the second season, he was the best player in the league, and most of the time it was by a country mile. That might be a bit biased, but I genuinely believe it in the heart of hearts. He was the best player for that 6 years he was at Chelsea and at the top. And yeah, he's called an end to his playing career. This whole argument of Salah versus Hazard, I think, is ridiculous. I think Hazard is, in terms of, if you just look at pure stats and output, then yeah, you can give it a Salah. But in terms of quality and how good they were, like Salah would not even be fit to lace Hazard's boots. I'm sorry, but Hazard is just a better player. Just on his day, he was unplayable, and I'd say at a point he was only eclipsed by Messi and Neymar. Messi and Ronaldo at one point. Like that's how good Hazard was at his peak of his powers, and it's going to be a miss to see a player like that. Because yeah, and it's the same with Neymar though. You know, they blossom so early and then their careers end so quickly, but they've played like a ridiculous amount of games before you even realize. Like Hazard's got all these injuries, Neymar's the same, and they are very skillful players. Get the shit kicked out of them, and yeah, it just and bad lifestyle choices and just catches up to them very early. So yeah, it's a sad one. I just wanted to throw that in there because I saw all these debates and I'm just like, nah, Hazard streets ahead of Salah in terms of quality and the things he could do. He was just the control he had and what he could do on the ball on his day. When he felt like it, he could change a game, and he was just, yeah, he was a better player than Salah, and I will not have anybody say anything otherwise. That was my roundup of the Premier League and a few thoughts sprinkled in at the end on the international break and some wider topics. Hopefully Lank will be back next week and then we can do another one, a little roundup of our results here. But I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for the support as always, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.